So, it looked like I wasn't getting lunch anytime soon. The ping Fear had gotten with some rad new energy recognition software she'd been working on was all the way up a skyscraper to the transmission tower on top. If my hunch was right, there was a broadcast coming soon. Our terrorist was finally going to make some demands. We're in luck, it's a public building, for the most part. I was combing through the plans of the building that Fear had sent me. Reaver wove through traffic like a rally driver. Mostly rented offices and lounges until the 75th floor, then it's private apartments for the next 35. It was a pain in the ass, residential levels, but I could hijack the lift without much effort. Security would be the only thing to slow us down, if they didn't want to play nice. I don't want to be that gal, but last time you confronted this guy, you got blown through a wall and nearly bit the dust. Is this the best idea? Neither one of us is very fresh. I sat there mentally preparing myself, reining in what little reserves of energy I had left. Probably not, but some of my most questionable decisions have paid off before. I side-eyed her and smiled. She was one of those decisions, and she knew it. We hit the car park at speed and Reaver pulled off a parking maneuver I'd only ever seen in movies. I summoned all the energy I had and ran for the front entrance. There was no guard, not even a greeter. Their automatic doors slid open just in time for us to pass through. The foyer was big and lush. I didn't really see any of it. I heard a ding and the lift landed. I was forced to push past a young couple as I rushed into the lift. Sure enough, this lift only went as high as the 75th floor. There would be a lobby there for the residents of higher floors to change over to private lifts. If there was going to be anything to slow us down, it was going to be there. The lift seemed to climb at an infuriatingly slow pace. It mocked me with its out-of-date tune and red-tiled floor. Reaver was all business. She checked her pistol and sheathed the knives that she had plundered earlier in the day, then waited, foot tapping out a rhythm on the floor. I could feel the nervousness building up inside her despite her cool exterior. You okay? Yeah, fine. I raised an eyebrow at her. I can feel you're not. She let out a sigh. Fine. You should probably know. I have a thing about heights. I frowned. What, like a phobia? No, a phobia is an irrational fear. My fear is extremely rational. I don't like the idea of landing suddenly after falling long distances. But that fight night, you're on top of a building, one of the tallest buildings in the city. She shifted uncomfortably. I made a point not to know the details of that. Besides, I never saw the edge of the roof. Noted. Let's hope there's a railing up there then. She scowled at me. I gave her my best version of a comforting smile. Just maybe take a backseat on this one, yeah? No, I'm not dead weight. I'm not going to sit this one out. I didn't reply, but her comment did bring a thought to the forefront of my mind. I hadn't even considered this yet. My contemplation was cut short as the lift door opened. The lobby for the private apartments was like the foyer below, but with even more swank. There was a wide ebony desk, complete with gold trim and incomplete with no attendees. Reaver cast about quickly, keeping her gun inside her jacket but her hand ready. Where is everyone? I had a sinking feeling I knew exactly where they were. He's commanded them. What? I strode over to a set of elevator doors that led further up the building. He's puppeting them. He needs the extra hands or muscle, or hostages. He's taken them. The lift was as I expected. It needed a key card to activate. Lucky for me, I'd hacked this same model of the elevator a few times. I've rewrote the access protocols and activated the manual overrides for the controls. No cards needed. It was only a matter of seconds before we were on the move again. What's he need extra hands for? I shrugged, drawing out my own pistol from my leg holster. He probably likes having options. Look, I think you should wait this one out. The ding as we hit the top floor, a maintenance landing, was almost comical for the setting. What? I'm not letting you go out there on your own. I put an arm across the door as she made to leave, blocking her way. Yes, you will. This guy has the ability to puppet you without keeping contact. Shit, he might not even need to touch you first. He'll make what I did to you on the train look like amateur hour. She snarled, baring her teeth and accentuating her tusks. She punched the wall, venting her frustration. but she knew I was right. She could see the memories I was floating through my mind. Fine, but if shit hits the fan, I'm coming out guns blazing. I looked out to check the exit, turned back and pulled her in close, pressing my lips to hers. I pulled back before either of us got too invested. I tapped my temple as I stepped out. Stay tuned in. I stepped out into what was basically a storeroom and workspace. To my right was a set of stairs and daylight visible flooding in from an open door. Keeping my footfalls silent, my gun ready, I advanced slowly. There was no point. I was viewing the world through the vision of my other sight, the Cyphers sight that allowed me to see through walls, through the physical world to data streams and energy signatures. Beyond the walls and out on the rooftop I could see multiple figures, 6 people standing eerily still like statues. They all turned to look at the door before I even exited. As my gaze cast across them, there was one area that seemed oddly vacant of any energy at all. I stepped out onto the roof. A wind whipped my hair. I had it loose and it lashed my face, obstructing my regular vision. A stronger gust would have almost made me stagger. Reva wouldn't have liked this. I could feel her in the back of my mind, resolute over the bass tones of nervousness. I kept my vision in the realm of energy, though now it was overlaid on the real world, and that vacant space was now filled with a figure all too familiar. His stance was casual, his clothes just as I remembered them, the long coat, the hoodie, his tack helmet stripped bare. If it isn't my least favourite person, not my best opening line, I'll grant you. Hello to you too, Hunter, how I've missed you. He spoke, not invading my mind with his powers this time, his voice hollow inside the helmet. I can't say I feel the same, sorry. I saw your little cosplay attempt. Were you trying to draw me out or just get me arrested? I'm glad that wasn't wasted. It was a spur-of-the-moment idea, but so much fun. I bet. I risked a glance around at the other figures. 2 half-orc security guards, a young elf couple, and the 2 admin women from the desk at the residential level. They stood like they were carved from stone, each one strapped with a vest laden with packs of explosives. Each one held a dead man's switch. Interesting little party you're having up here. I wasn't sure how I could tell, but I just knew he was smiling under that helmet. It's a sort of press release. Thought as much. It's a bit common of you, isn't it? A man of your talents, terror bombings, and demands of a broadcast. Oh, you have it all wrong, Hunter. The bombings, they were just a way to get people's attention, to show them I mean business. That's one hell of a way to announce yourself. What can I say? I like to make an entrance. You know I had no idea how to properly drop a building until I drained the memory out of a civil engineer. Who would have thought such a boring man would have so much fun information? He was bragging, boasting. I didn't mind, I needed time to assess and plan. Got a few more puppets than last time, I see. He glanced about as though seeing them for the first time. Is that what you call them? I prefer enslaved. Why didn't that surprise me? I see you brought me another. He tilted his head to one side, looking down and behind me. I realized he meant Reva. He could see her through his own Cyphers vision, only 1 floor below. My heart skipped a beat, my fear becoming a reality. What if he didn't need contact first? I've seen her before, haven't I? The boxer at the rooftop club. That caught me off guard. You were there. Quite a show, wasn't it? This will be fun, seeing her pull you apart. Fuck. I turned to gaze down through the layers of concrete, cables and steel, ceramics, tiles. Reva stood motionless. I held my breath, waiting for something, a change in her demeanor, a shift in her expression. Nothing. I looked back to the stranger. There was a moment of tension. Then he staggered backwards, almost as though he'd been pushed. Glancing back down, Reva shook her head, bringing one hand up to rub her forehead. How intriguing, he muttered, regaining his footing. How did you achieve that, I wonder? I looked from him to her. Realization dawned. He couldn't get inside her head. I'd already set up shop. Somehow our connection blocked any new interference. I chuckled. Wouldn't you like to know? Oh please, you have no idea yourself. I ground my teeth. Arrogant asshole. I know more than you think. I know there are certain minds we can't invade, no matter how powerful you are. Shapeshifters, changelings, their minds are too chaotic. Archmages, their will is too strong. He sighed. Trifling facts. It's a shame we can't work together. If only you had the resources I have at my disposal. The things we could achieve. I'll admit you have more experience than me, but really it's no match for raw power. There was some truth to that. How could I pull these people out from under his thumb without power and skill to match? I scanned the bombs, the switches, they were all mechanical. There was nothing I could do with them. He had suspected I'd turn up, and he had taken away every possibility of me interfering. I leveled my pistol, sighting at the space between the chin of the helmet and the neck of his hoodie. No Kevlar there, no room for subdermal either. What happens to them if I drop you right now? That irritating feeling like he was smiling again. If I let you, they would continue at their task. We would all, in fact, go together this time. So it really is you under there this time. Back at the apartments, that was a puppet, wasn't it? He inclined his head but didn't reply. I lowered my weapon, shaking my head, baffled. I don't understand. What are you getting out of this? Me? Who said any of this chaos was for me? You told me you had big plans for this city. And I meant it, once I've paid my due. But first, I must serve my patron. So that's it. You're no more free than they are. I motioned to the enslaved minions. You're a cat's paw, a tool. He radiated irritation for the first time. The confidence cracked. Hardly. Once I have completed my task, my patron will pay me in exceeding my powers to heights even you could not possibly imagine. I don't know, I can imagine some pretty extreme shit. There was a beeping from somewhere at his back, and he glanced over his shoulder. It's been nice catching up, Hunter, but I have a deadline to meet. I sighted my pistol at his neck again, quick as lightning. Hold it right there. No, I don't think so. All 6 of the figures lifted their hands into the air, grip poised to let go of the dead man's switch. He moved to climb up a short set of stairs onto a platform that almost overhung the edge of the building. Only a railing stood between him and open air, and a very long fall. His focus was on the junction box at the base of the transmission tower. For the first time, I looked up to see the 3 steel triangular structures, a latticework of rods and cables. He ran a handful of cables from one tower to the control box and then over to the other. I watched, unable to intervene. Reaching into his pocket, he drew out a data chip and carefully slotted it into a port in the junction box. You're not just broadcasting some demands, are you? He laughed and continued to tinker. Clever. No, I'm not. This is a message, but not the kind you're thinking of. My eyes flitted from the helpless puppets to their captor. You see it, don't you? He called out from his position, hunched over. Once again, there's too much to do and not enough time. Me, them, the transmission. What will you possibly choose? The wind struck again. All 6 figures rocked slightly. I could hear my blood pumping, my adrenaline up. He was right. I couldn't save them. Even with my Hermes, I couldn't move fast enough to defuse 6 bombs. I was at the end of my ropes anyway. I was practically running on fumes. You're gonna make me choose between them or you. Oh no, I'm positive they will die. I'm making you choose between me or dying with them. Shit, even with Reaver at full speed, we could possibly save maybe 4? The stranger peeled off his coat and reached down, picking up a pack I recognized as a parachute. The mad fucker was gonna flip the switch and then jump over the edge. What will it be? He looked from one to the next, mocking me. Ever the hero, always looking out for the other guy. I've been looking forward to seeing you sweat, looking forward to that expression on your face. Right then I knew it.
I only had one option. I wasn't going to save these people, and it killed me. If there was any chance of saving even a couple of them, but we would all get blown to hell, when would I get a chance like this again? Save a few, or save the city? I began to shiver from the icy wind, or maybe it was the ice in my blood as I committed myself to my decision. I wasn't sure. I knew the broadcast would need a moment to go live. It might just be enough time for Reva to get clear. I played the plan out in my head as quickly as possible. Her emotions replied. I could tell she wasn't happy about it. Too bad. Shit happens. If this didn't work, we were both dead anyway. That much explosive would wipe out at least the top few floors. He pulled on the chute. I tensed up and focused all my will on shielding my own tech, my mind, my augments. The pack was on. His hand reached out to touch the pad at the door of the junction box. Reality slowed to a snail's pace. Hair and cloth that was lashed by the higher winds stood out like they were styled in exotic fashions. I hoped against hope that Reva would make it. It was all I could give her. Hope and a small amount of time. I pushed off, breaking into a run. I abandoned my gun. It left my hand and hung in the air as I took a few steps. I crossed the space between me and the stranger and the time it took him to move his finger the last couple of millimeters and depress the button on the screen, launching whatever he had uploaded. He wouldn't blow the roof now, not just yet. He had to get clear. He had too much writing on the message he was sending out, into the ether. I collided with him, wrapping my arms around his waist and bearing us both off the roof, over the railing, and tumbling into the empty air beyond. I used the last of my borrowed time as we hovered in empty air to wrap one arm tight in the straps of the chute. Reality smacked me in the face. Suddenly we were both plummeting to the street below. "You're mad!" It was all he managed to yell while maintaining enough composure to deploy the parachute. It tore free of its confines, unfurling into a vast red and black strip of cloth and cables. I reached out, grabbing one of the brake handles. The stranger fumbled to catch the other one, not ready, not experienced. I deployed my punch dagger, my hand parting in two as the blade issued from my forearm. I slashed at the strap around his waist and severed it in one clean motion. He dropped suddenly, his hand only just seizing the shoulder strap as his arm fell free of its safe embrace. "You'll kill us both!" he yelled, panic lancing through his voice for the first time. "You didn't seem too concerned before." I pulled on the brake handle and the chute tilted towards my side. I kicked out as he swung towards me. My boot connected with his helmet and I felt it give way with the impact. He cried out. It was drowned out by the sound of the explosion from the building at our back. I stopped my struggle with him just long enough to feel for Reva. She was there, on the brink of my awareness. She was alive. Thank the gods for what they were worth. My moment of inattention cost me. A fist struck me across the face. I shook it off, blinking away stars. "Wrong!" I lashed out with my free arm, the blade. I caught him across the bicep of the arm that gripped the chute. He screamed this time, his voice issuing from his mouth and echoing in my head with his telepathy. He flailed wildly. His legs kicked out at me, trying to fend me off. We began to spin slightly as we glided lower, beginning to close in on another rooftop and barely missing the walls of cramped skyscrapers. "I just have to make one more cut." He looked up at his ever-slackening grip, then down at the city below. "I won't forget this." Then he let go. The parachute tilted to one side, suddenly unbalanced. I looked down, shocked, astonished. He lay behind me to one side as I spun away from him, his body sprawled on an overhanging balcony of one of the skyscrapers. I was already too far gone and rapidly descending. I couldn't maneuver back to him. I hung there, eyes locked on him as he stumbled to his feet. I ground my teeth, sheathing my blade and reaching up to take control of the other brake handle. He turned and disappeared inside the building. I circled lazily towards the concrete and the bitumen below. Reva met me at the car. Her reaction was pretty much what I expected, if I was being honest. I could see the "what the fuck was that?" written all over her face. What the actual fuck? What do you know? I was right. I threw my hands in the air as I approached. What? What do you want me to say? Cop cars were encircling the parking lot. Disaster response teams hovered over the tower above us. What the fuck was that? Who jumps off of a roof of a 110-story building without a parachute? I reached her as the disaster teams ran past us. Lucky for me, the other guy had one. I borrowed it. I should punch this stupid out of you. Don't start. I'm not in the mood. She was pissed, but she could see I was more angry, more torn up. He tried to make me choose. The arsehole tried to make me choose between saving them or letting them die. And he tried to make it sound like it was my own arrogance. She paused, words on the tip of her tongue. I know, but you would never have made it out if you'd tried. You don't know that. It wasn't even worth it. He still got away. We'll get him. You're still here, so am I. We'll get another chance. But with every chance I failed at, he learned something from it. He got better. He got stronger. The stakes got higher. I was about to retort when a voice called out from across the parking lot and cut me off. Why am I not surprised to see you here? Les crossed the parking lot. TAC Ops helmet under one arm, full tactical gear strapped on from head to toe. I threw my hands in the air and made my way over to him, Reaver at my heels. Why do you think I had anything to do with this? There's a smoking ruin. You're here. The entire city just got hit with a virus bigger than Ben-Hur. I dropped all my rage. The upload. It had taken effect already? What? What happened? He passed me a data pad as he reached us. It was a list of systems down, errors, failures, crashes. Holy shit. Yep, he's crippled half the city. Thankfully, our cyber defense teams were able to isolate some of the most essential parts before it spread too far. Half the police systems are on a closed circuit, as are the essential parts of the emergency response divisions, but anything medical is screwed. Totally fried. It'll take weeks, if not months, to rebuild what was lost. He prioritized them, I said, my voice far away as I scanned through the incoming data on Les's pad. Yeah, we figured as much. We've lost at least half our vehicles across all departments. The system's cooked. He looked up at the building. It was him, wasn't it? I nodded solemnly. Were you up there? Reaver pointed to where a parachute lay discarded on the street, half strewn at a bus stop. Yes, he fucking was. Les looked from her to me, then to the chute. Did you jump? That isn't even his, she continued, hoping Les would back up her outrage. I commandeered it on the way down. First, he leveled a finger at me. You're fucking insane. Second, who's she? I'd forgotten. Reaver knew who Les was. At least the broad strokes. He had no clue about her. She cut me off. She's pissed is what she is. She crossed her arms, kicked out a hip and raised an eyebrow. She'd only done that once before. It was her, do you want to make something of it? Stance. This is Reaver, latest addition to the team. Apparently, we're getting jackets made up. I still hadn't looked up from the pad. I could tell he had about a dozen questions on the tip of his tongue, and he knew this wasn't the time or place. Do you know if there's any potential casualties? He tried to circle back to the matter at hand. At least 6, 2 security guards, 2 admin, probably 2 from the residential level, a young elf couple. I don't know about anything below the roof, I'm sorry. The top half of the residential levels is wiped out, Reaver supplied. The lift got knocked out on my way down. I had to leg it down the stairs the rest of the way. I shot her a grin. I knew you'd make it out. She shot me a look that wasn't as happy. Not the point. Her anger wasn't that I'd left her up there. She could handle herself. She was proud enough not to doubt that I trusted her in that. She knew what she'd signed up for, after all. She knew exactly what my life was. She was angry because I'd done something so blatantly fucking reckless. It was the anger of someone who cared. We need to have a talk about your escape plans. She spun on her heel and headed back to the car. New girlfriend? Les asked in a hushed tone. Looking more and more like it, yeah. Is she the chick from the train footage? I nodded. You watched that? He patted me on the shoulder. I watched her kick your ass. I rolled my eyes. I'm going home. If you need me, you know where to find me. He stood bemused as I followed Reaver back to the car. Hammond will want to interview you about this, he called to my retreating back. He can make an appointment. I turned and took a few steps backwards as I locked eyes with him. He can have his copycat bullshit. This is my case, reopened. I've got evidence. It's outside his jurisdiction now. What evidence? I tapped the side of my head. You don't think I went into this without recording the whole damn thing, do you? Fia was, right at this moment, combing through every layer of footage I'd just uploaded to her computer, through the whole event. I wasn't taking any chances. I'd recorded the whole thing through my Cyphers vision. Hammond could suck on my red tape and kiss my ass. The full extent of the damage wasn't realised for days. The carnage went deep. Systems compromised. Some held sleeper viruses that didn't even show themselves for months or until later events and interactions. Physical kit, vehicles, buildings, some of the city's best hackers and sifters were burnt out. The cyber defense teams had done their best and acted fast, but it hadn't been enough. The stranger, the Cypher with the skills not seen for a millennia, must have been crafting this program for months. I had Fia pull up some of the code and immediately recognized the magical-like hieroglyphics akin to my own personal code. This is some bespoke shit, Fia said, analyzing the code, seated in baggy red tracksuit pants and a black tank top, her tattoos sprawling over her exposed shoulders and arms, climbing up her neck, her headphones pumping out We Got the Moves by Electric Callboy as they hung around her neck. Anything we can pull from it, for what it's worth? I asked without too much hope, as I stooped to look over her shoulder. She shook her head. You'd have more luck than me. I don't understand half this shit. I grimaced. I doubt it. Even Dad's code was significantly different. I couldn't understand it half the time. It's not just code, it's an expression of our personality. Fia knew this. I was saying it out loud for the benefit of Reva, who sat nearby at the dining table, putting away beer like it was going out of fashion. There is something that you might be interested in, though. I raised an eyebrow and sat myself down next to her. Go on. She clicked over the different screens and pulled up a list of documents, some scans of ancient woodcuts, and some fresh data files. He mentioned a patron, remember? Yeah, so? Got me thinking, what if he's not talking about an actual person, but a magical patron? Reva perked up. Like a fae or a fiend or something? Fia nodded. It would explain why he's so powerful. I could be wrong, but I thought it's worth a try. I'd looked over the list she'd collated. You could be onto something there. It would explain how an unknown acquired so much power so quickly and appeared from nowhere. Oh, and Fia reached down and picked up a black leather book off the top of a pile of pizza boxes. A book I'd tossed down with my gear when we'd gotten back from the garden and completely forgotten about. She dropped it in front of me. What's the deal with this?
Thank you for listening to Cyphers Edge. Subscribe so as not to miss future episodes. New episodes uploaded every second Saturday. Script and narration by JJ Brandis. Music was provided by Cale McLeish. Copyright JJ Brandis 2025.